All right, go for it.
Good morning, good evening, good good whatever. It's me, the Grill Economist, coming to you live, and it's Rogue Money Mornings with V and CJ. We're giving you the news, the views, and all the information that's important to you. Check us out, roguemoney.net. Follow us on Twitter at the Rogue Money, Rogue Money on Facebook, Rogue Money on every single podcasting app known to humanity. And folks, if you haven't done so already, check out remaincalm.net. Remaincalm.net. It's the New Year's 2018. Started with a bang. Kick the bankers in the nuts. Let remaincalm.net fix your credit score. Let remaincalm.net get the funds you need. They can get you up to $600,000 unsecured from their network of 335 lenders. With that being said, also check out the cryptoschool.io, the cryptoschool.io. Check it out, folks. It's going to be awesome. We're going to be starting the Trade Academy very, very soon. It could be up this coming week, so stay tuned here exactly the timing that we're going to begin this. The ramp up has started. You know, many of you have had excuses as to why you're out of the game. It's time for you to put your skin on, put your helmet on, strap up. Let's get in the game. Let's make some money. Thecryptoschool.io. And with that being said, Siege, what's going on, brother? How are you?
Hey, man. Good morning. I'm doing great. You know, lots of exciting things going on with Rogue and our expansion. I listened to your yesterday episode 4 of the Guerrilla Insights, and you know, right on point in regards to the massive awakening that's happening here in the United States, and in regards to, you know, to embrace it, to really flourish through this time, and understand that, you know, regardless, you know, that it's interesting times, things are changing, and do what you need to do now to prepare for yourself, for your family. It was intense for me. It's a very exciting time right now.
Yeah, it definitely is, man. And folks that didn't get a chance to listen to it, go back and listen to the Guerrilla Insight episode 4, where I break it down. That's classic Guerrilla. So go back and check it out. Listen to it. Normalcy bias will get you killed in 2018, and that was the theme of it. And it's true. You know, you can't have a normalcy bias here, man. You gotta stay flexible. You gotta stay fast. You gotta stay fluid. You gotta stay pragmatic. Do not be married to a paradigm. Married to paradigms and being inflexible is often what's going to get you either killed or left out. Now, when I say killed, I'm not talking about a physical death. I'm just talking about just missing opportunities, man. Missing opportunities or losing money. Those are the two worst things. Apart from death or any sort of loss of family or anything like that, those are two things that, especially for men, is the hardest things to deal with. Okay, because men, by instinct, by our own genetic code, we are designed to always be the hunters. So what does a hunter do? I mean, it's in your genetics, folks. Come on, guys. What does a hunter do? A hunter's constantly looking for prey. Okay? You think our ancestors had a normalcy bias? You think they could afford to just sit around and think that somebody else is going to take care of things for them? No, they had to sharpen their spears and get out there. They had to do it. They had to look their wives and their children in the face and say, "I'm going to go out. I'm going to go kill a mammoth." And the woman had nothing to worry about. The woman said, "Okay, honey," you know, and she'll stay in in their little village or little hut and talk about how daddy's going to bring back a mammoth. But it's the man who's got to deal with the stress. It's the man who's got to deal with the life and death situations. Now, we ain't got no mammoths to kill, but what's different? What's different? If you really think about it, there isn't much difference. Either you got to go out there and create opportunities for yourself. You have to force your way through. You have to penetrate. You have to coerce the situation, take the universe by the throat and choke it out and get what you need out of it. Otherwise, nobody else is going to do it for you or provide for your family. And that's just the bottom line.
Yeah, well said. Yeah, the only thing I'd add to that as well be is that, you know, listen, the controllers, right? The controllers would rather have us being a compliant, complacent society. They would rather us not being bold, being brave, being outgoing. They would want to control that. So that's why your message is just that important.
Right.
And B, I often don't do this as much as I should, but I remember, whenever I was on my A game. You ever have those days where everything just clicks, where
Yeah.
everything just goes right? Like, boom, knock that out. Boom, this happens. Boom, this happens. I mean, that is more so. That's not by accident. That's mental preparation. That is visualizing that. If you ever get a chance for listeners to watch a video, it's called The Secret. I'm not sure if you've the Secret, where your mental input, your visualization of what you want your reality to be. It takes some practice to do that, but I'm a firm believer that we do control our destiny, and that involves that positive input, that positive output, continuously looking at it that way, and as we navigate through these changes that's occurring right now, is to not necessarily fear it, to embrace it and figure out what you can do to prosper through this change.
Yeah, 1000%. I mean, you are the master of your own ship. You're the master of your own destiny. You have to do it. You have to do it. You are an agent of creative change and power upon this planet. That's just the bottom line. That's just how it goes. And if you're not out there exercising your muscle, your faith muscle, your call it faith, call it belief, call it whatever the heck you want to call it, but if you're not out there visualizing and understanding that life and death are in the power of the tongue, if you don't understand the fact that thoughts become things, if you don't get it, that what you profess, what you say to yourself, your conversation you have with yourself is one of the most powerful things to your subconscious that you attract based upon what you're saying to yourself, that which comes to you, then you're missing out. You need to rewire your thinking. And that's what being part of Rogue Money, the whole entire Rogue Media team is all about. And being a rogue is about changing your thinking. And you need to change your thinking. You need to be more positive. You need to shut out the negativity in your life. Whatever your bad habits you have, get rid of it, man. Get rid of it. Understand the power of who you are. Embrace it, and get it done. Get it done. Get it done this year, 2018. Make it happen for yourself. Make it happen for yourself.
Boom. And to tie into that, share with our listeners, with some of our initiatives for 2018, we are currently working on the background. It's something that our listeners have been asking for. It's something, B, that I know you're very passionate about, something that I'm passionate about as well. And that's just overall, wellness. And that's regarding whether, physical health, mental health, all those things. So we do have initiative that at some point you will see a tabbed out content of Rogue Wellness, dedicated to all those things, because that's something that no one can take from you away from you, right? That's your health, that's your fortitude, and that's what and we believe in that. So we want to deliver it to you Rogue style.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. We got the right people involved with that, and we're going to come out with some really cutting edge revolutionary products, excuse me, and it's not going to be like some stupid crap that doesn't work in being sold in tinctures and stuff. No. This is like scientifically proven, scientifically sourced, real world applications, man. Right, Siege? I'm not going to mention names.
Absolutely, and we're diligently working through those. So sometimes if our show schedule changes, as there's so many moving parts that is involved with this, and we're in a rush to get it done, and we want to share as much as we can, but more importantly, just doing it the right way, getting everything in line. And so stay tuned. So share our shows, share our website. This is the Rogue year. We're looking at the dinosaur media, dying this year. Whether it's CNN, MSNBC, the amount of people that are waking up to understand that they have been basically fed for years on end the propaganda from these fake news outlets. And it's time for change, and Rogue wants to be on the forefront of that.
Right. Absolutely. 1000%, man. Speaking on the forefront, my man, we have the latest Bush-Cheney CFR policy here. Let's break this down real quick. Now, this is from James, the Russian analyst. Iraq sit rep number 34, U.S.-Israeli strikes reportedly kill 100 Syrian soldiers and militiamen. I mean, who are these guys helping, CJ? It's getting ridiculous at this point, man. Israel defends its attacks on its neighbor, for which Damascus and its Hezbollah allies have vowed to retaliate. Again, they're trying to hit that Hezbollah hornet's nest at a time and place of their choice, by claiming self-defense and preventing the transfer of weaponry from Iran to the Lebanese Shia militia in the Levant. Folks, let me tell you something real funny, okay? About $81 million worth of American M1 Abrams battle tanks have fallen into the hands of these terrorists and then were also quickly transferred over to the Iranians. That is the incompetence of the military incompetent complex, also formerly known as the military industrial complex, but now they're just known as the military incompetent complex. Okay. So while the IAF strikes unopposed by Russia have been propaganda blows to Damascus military pride, they have not destroyed much lately in the way of actual weaponry or inflicted heavy casualties. However, as the Syrian Arab army advances into Idlib province and the jihadis grow more desperate to stop the onslaught with their manpower drained away in mercenary service to Turkey's offensive on the Afrin Kurds, a more serious threat to the Syrian sovereignty looms. The number of chemical attacks using chlorine gas. I mean, think about this, guys. Okay, this is the end. This is the last remaining, like 99.99999% of the country is liberated, and all of a sudden, towards the end of this whole entire campaign, chlorine gas is being used. It's spreading all throughout the country, with the Turks somewhat bizarrely accusing the YPG this week of using the cheap, easy to manufacture World War I style chemical weapon against their jihadi allies. The YPG, in turn, accused the Turks and the jihadis of gassing their militiamen with chlorine. Everybody's gassing everybody, it seems like, out of nowhere. This is an insanity the likes of which I have not seen. And again, this is again by the deep state. This is again causing a pretext in order for the world to get behind some sort of a war to go into Hezbollah. And this is going to fail miserably. Israel is not going to get the war they want of taking out Hezbollah. This is going to be some sort of a, Hezbollah has been a thorn on Israel's side for a wide variety of reasons. If they think that this is going to be a reason that somehow this will be a pretext of the Americans will come running, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen at all. Anyway, Siege, what's your take, man?
Yeah, I mean, while we celebrate, gains here domestically in the United States, and we want to continue to celebrate those with the administration, and hopefully moving forth with some honesty, we can't take our eyes off of the foreign policy, and we understand why they're doing it, right? Because they believe in a military-driven, economy, and this false belief that we can continue this, and not understanding the massive shift that's occurring away from U.S. influence, and we need to change that. And I so wish that I could hear, instead of having a U.S. military parade in New York or Washington D.C., I would rather have a celebration parade that we're bringing our troops home, that we're going to stop all this intervention, that we're bringing our troops home. We're shifting our policy, and we're going to have a celebration of that. We want to thank our service members, understanding that it's not necessarily their fault. They're taking direction from their commanders, but we're going to stop with this interference, stop with the regime change, and start to work and align around a lot more diplomatic, geopolitical, multipolar view of the world that's changing, and we need to do that quickly, V.
Yeah, 1,000%, my man. 1,000%. We need to do it very quickly. Look, you want to support the troops. You really want to do that? Then get behind the push and the momentum to get our military out of these unwarranted wars. Get them out of these far-flung bases, 900 some odd bases in 100 and some odd, 180, 130 some odd countries. I mean, it's ridiculous. Bring our troops home. Bring them home. There's enough. Our military should be a defensive military. You train them to be the best. You give them the best damn weapons, but you bring them home. Okay, you bring them home. There's no reason for us to have this many bases. And let's get out of these military alliances. Like, how stupid is this? We have a military alliance that if Taiwan gets attacked by China, that we're going to have to go to war with China. That if Japan gets attacked, we got to go to war to help Japan. These are nations that have very strong economies with very high GDPs. They could defend themselves. How about we just create weapons and just sell it to them? Why not? Why not just do that? Right? Why not just do that?
Right.
Because what we got going on today with all the shenanigans here, it's not serving anybody anything. Rather than a military, I don't like military parades. For me, it's when I see a military parade, man, I see this in militaristic states. I see this in what's the word I'm looking
North
for?
Korea.
Yeah, North Korea, Soviet Union. I'm looking at troops goose stepping. We just don't do military parades in America. We serve. If there's a problem, what do? We dust off our rifles and we go serve and we kick ass. We take names and we come home. But doing a military, and I'm all for. Like, I love the servicemen and women in uniform. Every time I do like clockwork, whether I see a service member in a Starbucks or even a restaurant, without them knowing, I usually always pick up the tab for them.
Right
as
on.
a gift. And they're like, oh, thank you. And I'm like, no, you don't need to thank me. Thank you.
Right.
Yep. But these are amazing individuals who put it all on the line. Okay. They deserve better. And the greatest thing that's killing us is, the military incompetent complex. And I get, you want to fund the military about $800 billion defense spending to get this damn ship moving, if that's what it needs to take. But then we gotta bring them back. We gotta bring them back at some point. It's ridiculous. I don't like that trend whatsoever, man. Will Trump be caught flat-footed holding the bag, Siege? What's going on with this, man?
Yeah, so this is an article from our friends at LaRouche Pack from Harley Schlinger, and hopefully he can dive into this a little bit later on today with this for Hanging with Harley at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But it's a great memo because it specifically talks about as far as the U.S. economy and the fact that the crisis is not just potentially a stock bubble, that it's a symptom of a bigger problem. And that is, something that we've talked about, V, is the deliberate shutdown of the U.S. physical economy that's occurred, that's accelerated from the 70s during the Nixon time period. And so one of the things that Harley has been really talking about is just, somewhat kind of the danger, the implicit danger in President Trump seeking credit for the stock market bubble. And when it pops, could he potentially, be blamed for that? By taking credit for the rapid climb upward on the stock markets and, claiming proof of a broad-based economic recovery, because there's some real numbers coming in that we're shortly going to be reviewing that show us significantly something different of what's happening in the U.S. economy. And so it's just reason for caution. It's the same message that Peter Schiff delivered. And I think what it falls back to is just, and I think this is so important, and I think it's something that the American people are asking for is truth and pure truth and honesty. I think it's something that as a society, I think that we've been asking for, and the truth, although so simple, it's so powerful. And I think by coming out and talking about some of these things in regards to, the massive debt that occurred under Obama, how the market's been, propped up. And I get that the president's role in their job is to, keep the economy and, keep all that going. But my concern is right. And this article, LaRouche Pack, and then also Schiff talks about a little bit with, there's a real danger here. And I'm not trying to scare people. The real danger is that when this is all said and done, and this election with nationalism, this election that we had with, electing someone with no political experience, outside of the political environment, taking credit for this market, there's a risk there that, Peter Schiff does a better job of explaining than I do, that in the event that something does turn south, which you don't want it to, that we're left with the conversations on the media that stays intact, stating, well, see, we told you so. We told you that nationalism won't work. We told you that we can't have people with no political experience, American people just didn't know better, and Trump didn't know better. So now we need to bring a socialist society in because government, we need to do this, and that's the risk here. And as I don't want to distract too much from Harley's great article, but he does have some great points in there that I think are inspiring. Is the fact that we really advocating for President Trump to follow through on his campaign promise, to restore Glass-Steagall bank separation, the guarantee that there will be no bailout this time for bankrupt banks. And then also as the downward plunge of the stock markets in the latest stage to serve as a warning that there is no time to waste, defeating the deep state coup and ending the funny money speculative bubble policies of the central banks, acting on behalf of the financial oligarchy, require a full, aggressive, thoughtful mobilization by we, the American citizens now.
Yep. Absolutely. The thing is also, I kind of get why he's got the whole bubble thing going. I don't know who advised him. Maybe it's Gary Cohn. Maybe it's a Goldman boy. Maybe it's somebody else. Maybe it's who says maybe it's look. Bubbles are great if you can. I mean, they're never good in the long run, but in the emergency situation, I'll give it to you guys this way. Okay, picture, if you will, you have a car accident, right? And the ambulance pulls up, okay? And all of a sudden they gotta save the patient. Now, when they save the patient, they got to do whatever heroic measures is necessary to get that patient going. Some of these heroic measures is basically almost death-inducing. It's very, very dangerous. It's on the very knife edge of life and death, the very knife edge, and sometimes it's actually going into death, right? You're doing heroic measures, okay? We have an American public. I'd say 60% of this country is pretty awake to what's going on, especially you can see with the polls. Now, the whole entire awake / woke percentage out of that 60%, or what level? Excuse me, let me just take a swig of water.
Yeah, I had to do that myself. Clear throat.
My voice. So any the percent, right? You got these quote unquote people that are woke. How many levels of woke are there? There's a level that says that, you know what, screw the Democrats and the Republicans, the establishment, we need a new government. That's one level. The next level of woke is you understand that the Federal Reserve is not federal and there's no reserves. That's another level of woke. The higher levels of woke are people that listen to programs such as this that understand the greater play and the power players behind the scenes and all the things that are happening internationally. That's the other level of woke, right? So, but at the end of the day, people are woke. So I get the idea of wanting to pussyfoot around the American public, but I think it's better just to pull the Band-Aid off. Pull the Band-Aid off and let's just deal with this thing like adults, right? But I understand the strategy of, okay, let's build a bubble in the economy, then use the bubble to get the kind of things we need. Look, where the hell is he going to get 1.5 trillion for infrastructure? That's shovel-ready jobs.
Right.
He's going to have to float bonds. He's going to have to do this. Again, creating the bubble. But if you got to use a bubble to create a physical economy, then go ahead and do it, because we've seen China do it. China's getting ready for the next economic boom. What do you think all these quote-unquote ghost cities, there's ghost cities all over the place. There are some people living there, not as much as should be in that city capacity, but they're getting ready to pull the rest of their people out of poverty, the 30 million left, because they've already pulled like 600 or 750 million people out of poverty in the last decade, which is an enormous number never seen in human history. Why don't we do the same thing? If we got to use a bubble to pull our people out of poverty, if we got to use a bubble to get our infrastructure done, if we got to pull a bubble in order to rebuild a physical economy based on manufacturing and production output, on actually creating real things, if we can create a real economy where our biggest exports are not trash, recyclables, and pornography, and we can get back into really, really exporting some high quality things here, start manufacturing here again, then so be it. So when the bubble does pop, at least there's a physical economy there that will provide the soft landing that we need. We rip off the tape right now, which, part of me wants to do. I am not going to front the angry part of me, the sick of it part of me. Like, I'm so sick of it. That part of me wants to pull off the Band-Aid right now. But you have to understand, pulling the Band-Aid off right now will cause catastrophic damage, irreversible damage. You're going to lose the patient. You're going to lose the patient on the way to the hospital. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. This economy is sick. It's being artificially propped up. Someone's cut open the chest and they're massaging the heart. Another guy's got the IV drip going. And the other person's maybe hitting it with a shot of adrenaline. I don't know what's going on. The other guy's like, he got the oxygen mask on and he's got the oxygen thing. He's pumping. He's trying to get that respiration going for the patient. They're doing all these things. These are all, my God, these are crazy things that are being done. Heroic intervention. And yes, this is a person that's been in an accident. Yes, this person's unhealthy. Yes, this person's got maybe 90% blockage in his arteries. And yes, this person's probably a diabetic. And yes, this person's got all these health maladies and toxins in there, just like this economy. This economy is diabetic. It's running on all sorts of fake sweets, artificial whatevers.
Right.
Calorie dense, nutrient lacking garbage is filling this economy. Right? You got all sorts of toxins in this economy, right? You got all sorts of garbage in this economy. But the point is, now is not the time to deal with all the garbage. The point is, you got to get the patient to the hospital. See, when on the way to the hospital, you can't, I'm pumping his heart. The other guy is doing respiration. Another guy's got the IV drip going, right? And I'm artificially massaging that heart. I'm doing whatever I can. I'm giving him whatever, right? The point is, folks, and I'm not giving you the best damn medical analogy. So if you're like a medical doctor, an ER doctor, don't hang me out there by my toes. But it just is an analogy. The point is, you're not worried about anything else. You're not worried about the fact that guy's a diabetic. You're not worried about the fact that 90% of his arteries are clogged. You're not worried about the fact that maybe he has cancer. You're not worried about those things. Your main concern is to get the patient to the hospital. And I'm thinking, if my gut instinct is telling me, and my gut's usually right, that's what's happening here. We're trying to get the patient to the hospital without killing him en route, without killing him along the way. And I think that's what the good guys are doing. If you don't think there's a good guys, then your head has been so shoved up your paradigm, you're not even seeing straight. There are good guys and there are bad guys. Otherwise, we would have been in this new world of disorder a long time ago. Especially with the advent of Hillary Clinton.
Exactly. Absolutely.
So let's get the patient to the hospital. Let's get the economy into the hospital. Let it flatline. Then we can put the patient into surgery. We can rebuild, and we could probably put an artificial heart in there. We could do whatever the heck we can to resuscitate and bring this person out. And then once he goes through that heroic surgery with heroic intervention, there's going to be a recovery period. And the recovery period will take some months. And the doctor will say, hey, you know what? You can't do anything right now. You can't do any heavy lifting. You can't, go to the gym and work out. You can't, you just need to take it easy. You need to take it easy. Maybe by a year and a half, you should be back to normal. And you just follow the doctor's orders. And little by little, your body begins to regain strength. And that's what this economy needs to do. We're going to get flatlined, but if we do it right, we have a physical economy built up. We're going to get resuscitated, and then we have a recovery, a real recovery, not the 2008 recovery when Obama got elected, and they said, "Oh, the economy is recovering." They're talking about green shoots and all this other bull crap, and it wasn't a recovery. And I called it then first, folks. I said, "It's not a recovery; it's a wreck covered up. It's a wreck covered up." Okay, but we have a chance here to have a real recovery. Let's just do this. Let's just do this. Anyway, Steve, what's the next thing we got, man? We got a trade deficit that reaches 9-year highs. Go ahead.
Yeah, just real quick, just break it down. The trade deficit increased to a 9-year high of 566 billion. This is just exactly what V was speaking to, is the fact that getting back to a country that actually is producing goods, producing durable goods, and exporting, getting our GDP back to where it needs to be now. Interesting enough, as Peter Schiff pointed this out, is that if you remove oil from this, because we have ramped up our oil production here domestically, that if you remove that completely from the trade deficit, as far as a figure, it would be the worst month in U.S. history as far as the trade deficit. So This is that need to ramp things up. And in Peter Schiff's latest podcast, he specifically talks around why the mechanics of the trade deficit is just so important, as far as trying to close that gap. And it ideally points to the fact that we are right now consumer-based economy, driven off of purchasing the majority of our goods from overseas. And we need to turn that around. We need to get manufacturing industries revamped here in the States, and bring some of those jobs home that will bring a real economy. Be
Yeah, absolutely. And heads up, real quick. Guess who's right now the biggest oil exporter to the United Arab Emirates?
Us, United States.
Yep.
Bingo.
700,000 barrels, man.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's American shale. I don't know how these guys are doing it, but there's a lot of innovations being done with technology, and shale oil is about only 90% the BTU of regular sweet crude. But these guys are doing it. They're using technology to bring down the cost of extraction, and innovative ways, which is what we in America do. Is we do innovative. We are mavericks. We are out the box thinkers. Let's embrace our Americana and make it happen. But
that's something that the administration should be touting, because I'm borrowing this because I heard it on another, I can't remember where specifically, the podcast, but apparently like all these offshore rigs that the industry had in other countries, they're packaging all those up. They're bringing them all back, here in the United States, because of the fact that the previous administration was, had so much regulation, was so anti energy production and everything. So all that is coming back home now. So those are great signs, becoming a truly energy independent country.
Absolutely. Anyway, we got TikTok over here, man. The State of the American Debt Slaves. This is from wolfstreet.com. Go ahead, break that down, man.
Yeah, just very eye-opening statistics as far as the amount of debt, consumer debt that is currently out there. And so when you compound government debt and then also consumer debt, it's not a good track to be on as far as where we are. So currently total consumer debt is currently a little upwards of $3.8 trillion dollars. And if you benchmark that based upon the 2008 financial crisis, that debt is now leveraged at 45% greater than where it was. So hence the concern that any type of move with interest rates and what that potentially could do for the tapped out American consumer as far as our debt load. Then this sheet just breaks down the credit card and the revolving debt. And the one that's really eye-opening, V, is the auto loan right there. You can see that it's upwards of $1 trillion. But the one that really is eye-opening is the student loan debt. So when you look at student loan debt, you benchmark, it's went up since 2008, 141% increase, and is currently sitting at a little over under $1.5 trillion in student loans. So it's just massive debt, and any move by the Fed to raise rates would just be very hard for consumers and the government in terms of our national debt to absorb. And so that's what's making things so difficult right now with the economy. So not only the markets, but the rates and how that's having an impact on us.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely right, man. The debt's got to go. We need a jubilee year. We need the debts, all debts, to be canceled. It just needs to be canceled. I just need to hit the reset the button and let's just get it on. Let's just get it on. The debt's fake anyway. It's a fake debt.
Right.
It's fraud.
Yep.
And I've explained this so many times on various broadcasts. It's fraud. And anyway, that brings us to the end of the show. Siege, what we got lined up for today, bro?
Yeah, it's a big day here at Rogue, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, hanging with Harley. Harley always does a great job of calming me down. Yeah, so 12 p.m. and then obviously later on, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Cuss with Gus. And then also we have a couple interviews in the queue to get released. V did a great interview yesterday with the Saker that we'll be trying to pump and get that released at a certain time. And then also interviewed a company called 420 Blockchain that's doing some great things of bringing blockchain technology to the cannabis space as far as logistics and everything, and pretty cool stuff. So we'll be happy to share those with our audience soon.
Awesome. Good deal. And with that being said, folks, again, subscribe to the channel, share with your friends and family. This is the voice of reason in the cloud of confusion. So keep it tuned right here. Hit the subscribe button, hit us with a thumbs up, leave a comment, and hit that notification bell so you're alerted when the latest programs and when we release the latest interviews and whatnot. With that being said, Siege, we're over and out. Take it away, buddy.